Hey trig class, let's look at another one of these compositions of trig functions with different inverse trig functions. So once again, the angle here, inverse trig functions are angles. So the angle is on the inside of the sine function, and that's the inverse tangent. So again, that means that the tangent of the angle is the negative square root of 3. So there's not a fraction there, but remember, I can always put anything over 1 and create a fraction. So my right triangle, and just draw an arbitrary right triangle, draw an angle in one of the two non-right angles, the two acute angles, and now tangent is opposite, so the opposite is the square root of 3 over adjacent, and so that means the adjacent is this one right here. So the opposite is this square root of 3, the adjacent is 1. Alright, then we can do the Pythagorean theorem here to find the hypotenuse. So h squared equals the negative square root of 3 squared, which would be 3, plus the 1 squared, which would be 1. And h squared equals the sum of that. So 3 plus 1 is 4. H squared equals 4. So h squared could be technically 2 or negative 2, but because it's a hypotenuse, it's positive 2. So h equals 2 here. So now I'm going to replace that with a 2. And there is my right triangle. And I'm looking for the sine now of that angle. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So that's negative square root of 3 over a hypotenuse of 2. So there is my fraction. And it is negative, if you recall. Inverse tangent, if we have a negative input, inverse tangent is going to put you in quadrant 4 with a negative angle. So this angle is negative, and the sine of a negative angle is going to also put us down into quadrant 4 and make the y-coordinate negative. So this will be negative when we do this procedure. Alright, once again, let's show that I can do the same procedure with a calculator. We just have to square. We have to remember that we have to square because it's going to give us a decimal. So I'm going to type in the sine of the inverse tangent, which is second tangent, of the negative second square root of 3. Alright, close off these parentheses, hit enter. It gives me that number. Okay, if you recognize that, that's a special output. That's a value from the unit circle. If you recognize it, great. There's your negative square root of 3 over 2. If you don't recognize it, you can square this number. Now remember, it's negative, so you can square this number. That 0.75, that's 3/4. If you don't recognize that decimal, math 1 will replace it, change it into a decimal. So again, that's the square of what we're looking for. So when we fix it, we're looking for the negative square root of 3/4. Okay, 3 is not a perfect square, so that negative and that square root of 3 will remain. But 4 is a perfect square. The square root of 4 is 2. So there's another way we could get that negative square root of 3 over 2 with the calculator helping us.